My name is Jess, and today I will be assisting you with some important and effective ideas to assist you with teaching your Grade 2 students about data. Whether you are a student teacher, a graduate teacher, or an experienced teacher who is new to the level, it is vital that you know the importance of teaching data thoroughly to your students. It is so imperative that data is taught in the early years because data is all around us in our world. Therefore, it is all around our students. We see it on the news, it is in our newspapers, and it is even discussed on the radio. The key issue facing teachers today in regards to teaching data handling and analysis is that students need to be engaged in the learning of data handling, and the best way to engage them and ensure that the learning is meaningful is to allow students to select their own topics and to pose their own questions. By doing this, teachers cater for students of all abilities. They are creating an environment that challenges students and promotes discussions, and they are giving students the knowledge of data they need to be able to continue to add to their understanding as they progress through to the upper years of primary school and on to high school. The first step when teaching any mathematics concept is to check with the national curriculum. What should students in my grade be learning? What should they know by the end of the year in terms of data handling and analysis? Next, before you can expect students to be able to pose their questions in relation to data, you need to provide them with the knowledge they need to succeed. You will need to show them examples of different ways of displaying data, meaning the different graph types, such as a bar graph, a pictograph, Ideally, these should be displayed around the classroom so that students can see examples of them at all times. Then, lessons need to be based around the different types of graphs, but through allowing students to play a part in selecting the topic or question and then in the process of collecting data. A great way to introduce this is to ask the students questions that could have a number of responses, open-ended questions. I will give you one example now of how any activity could be done and the related follow-up activities. 1. Read to students The Best Vacation Ever by Murphy, 1997. This is a book about a young girl who wants her family to have a good holiday while all getting to do what they enjoy. So she collects the information she needs and organises it to get the answer. 2. Ask students what we could investigate about our classmates, like the girl did in the book. Create a chart of their different answers. The end result would look a bit like this, depending on their responses. Encourage discussion and phrase ideas. Could use an example such as a flowchart. Once again, we agree on a topic. Ask, what are the possible answers to this question? Then create a list and allow students to share their ideas. It could end up looking like this. Two J's, topic, ideas. And for step 4, explain how we need to gather our data. Allow students to then physically play a part in this, through drawing, colouring, or etc. 5. Ask, what does this graph tell us? You want students to then be able to say things that are true from the graph. You may need to ask them questions related to the graph to get responses. Then pose them a question. What question could you ask? If any have one, try to encourage a peer to answer it. Use lots of positive reinforcement. This same process should be repeated in the next lesson, only this time with a different question from the list they brainstormed. Another adaptation to be made is to use a different type of graph to display the data. So students still have an input. They still physically create something, but this time we do a different graph as a grade. Last lesson we did a bar graph. This time we did a frequency plot. This way they are seeing different types modelled and these can be displayed. Hopefully this time students are better at answering questions related to the graph. Probe their understanding through questions you make related to the graph. From there, you can allow students to decide on the question they want to collect the data for. Because like the research indicated, graphs are more than just filling in the graph or colouring it in. Students need to be able to pose their own questions to investigate, but also be able to answer questions about the graph. We have now modelled for students how they can do this, and they can now begin working on their skills in order to do this on their own. Some key points for you to remember when teaching data handling to your class. Provide them with visuals. Promote discussion. Create a positive environment. Allow them to pose questions. Allow them to gather data, and then allow them to represent the data. Question them on the results and ask them to pose questions about the data. Thank you for listening.